Hello, folks. Lots of wonderful things happening all over the world. Some not so wonderful, but it's not business as usual. Lots of things are going on the Earth, and the planet is changing. So many different things are happening. We've got volcanoes going off, and we have earthquakes, and we have tidal waves, and we have nuclear meltdowns, and all these different things happening all over, but nobody's asking the real questions. Why is it all happening? Could it possibly be the gravitational pull of an entity that has entered our solar system that they don't want to talk about? Or could it possibly be a little bit more realistic, the frequency and hydraulic fracking in the internal parts of our planet, causing abnormal shifting in the crust, breaking the encapsulating concrete around nuclear reactors, causing meltdowns and stuff like that? I don't know. But I'd like to bring you some sober messaging for the people in the United States. Don't run out to Walmart and buy all the iodine you can get your hands on. And don't worry about paying $25 for a little small bottle of potassium iodine pills, okay? If you have them, that's wonderful. You should have them on the shelf. Everybody in America lives 200-300 miles from either a nuclear facility or a nuclear generation plant. They're all over the place, folks. Now, let's get back to the realistic facts, the things that should sober you up to the hysterical headlines of the mainstream media. First of all, how many people out there, their lives have changed greatly since the meltdown at Chernobyl? Well, of course, it didn't do much for the people of Chernobyl, but it didn't do anything at all for the people in America. And I believe Chernobyl is a little closer than Japan. Speaking of Japan, Japan was the recipient of some American technology in the 40s. Okay, these large pieces of ordnance, or small pieces of ordnance that made a really large bang, were dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The start of the Cold War was based upon the absolute threat of what will happen if we were to use the bomb. Of course, there was no threat when of a bomb ever going off if you were creating a nuclear facility to generate power or something that the government wanted, but there was always the fear and the mystique of nuclear energy and what should happen if it gets out of hand and all these wonderful things. Well, we have the potential for disaster all over the globe, okay? All right, and I'm just going to give you some sobering facts. The nuclear power plants in Japan were rated up to 7.9 on the Richter scale for ground shift and torsional twisting and abnormalities in the and stabilization of the ground that the reactor sits on. Every 5 years they have a earthquake in excess of 10 on the Richter scale. So where were the people that certified these power plants, which were all made by the American company Westinghouse, by the way? Westinghouses. Well, that's neither here nor there. Okay, you know you've got a ground instability problem in Japan, okay? But here's the good news. The meltdown has already happened, okay? How the thing blew up in the first place was when the ground instability caused the encapsulation around the chamber to crack, the rods melted through and hit the water table and blew straight up. Now, If you do not have particulate, okay, in other words, something that has been irradiated, something of substance that can hold that radiation and emanate that radiation like a magnet, okay? Look at radiation like magnets, okay? The only difference between magnetism and radiation is a sort of magnetism that is vibrating at a frequency that's not conducive to life, okay? So, you have this explosion in Japan. What does that have to do with America? Nothing. The particulate is not, the nuclear particulate is heavier than air. Do you understand? So what goes up must come down. Well, they're fishing in Louisiana. Is it raining sinkers in Maine? Of course not. One thing has got nothing to do with the other, with the exception of creating a false flag situation, perpetuating fear, and marketing fear to you. And who are the latest marketers of this fear? Israel. According to Israel, not that they would have anything to do with handling the media in this country, but according to Israel, this is a big threat to America. What would they know about it? Do they ever admit to having a nuclear facility? Do they have nuclear armaments? According to their spies, they say they don't have any. So wouldn't this kind of be akin to asking for sexual techniques from the Pope? Hello? You can't have it both ways. They can't be the experts and not have anything. All right? So, all of you folks that are running out and buying iodine and potassium iodine, it's good to have, okay? But you have no fear from what's going on in Japan. Be well, stop buying the hype, and don't get all nervous with all of the people. No matter how loud they scream, it doesn't change anything.